Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Skip gives it up and explains that despite the loss, he was so impressed and thankful to Cowboy Nation for this season. Shannon declares the game-winning throw by Aaron Rodgers is one of the best throws he has ever seen in playoff history. The driver of the Aaron Rodgers fan club, Mr. Rob Parker, is here to tell us how good Aaron Rodgers is all time. You will not believe where he ranks him. Plus, FS1 NFL analyst Chris Carter tells you that no question about it, from leader to getting on Skip's good side, Dak Prescott checked every box this season. Skip, do you have anything you want to say to start?
Before we start here, I want to congratulate you and Aaron Rodgers and Mason Crosby and all those Cowboy haters out there. You won. I was wrong, but I'm about to tell you how lucky all of you were.
Skip, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I'm going to come out here and I'm going to rant and I'm going to pound the table like I did
that at all.
Like I did when the Giants won.
10-7.
Okay, Skip, hold on just a second. But I'm not going to do that. Now, if you remember, I asked you on Friday, I said, Skip, let's make a bet. If the Packers win, you follow me on Twitter. You said, no, I don't do that.
I don't follow anybody. I've never followed anybody.
And you know
Except
what?
Tony Romo for a brief while, which was a mistake.
I'm glad you didn't follow me. Because if you followed me, you can unfollow me. You can block me. You can mute me. But you know what you can't do? This indelible impression that's in my mind forever. When I look into your eyes and I see your face right now, you can't block that. You can't unfollow this. I got it. It's there. I told you 2 months ago, they were going to be like Kentucky freshmen. How was that, Skip?
I thought they played great. I am so proud of my Dallas Cowboys from coming from 21-3 down, and they should have won the game except for two of the most bizarre field goals I have ever witnessed in my life.
Let's start there. Let's start there and get into the game. We're getting to you in just 1 second, Shannon. The Packers beat the Cowboys yesterday to advance to the NFC Championship. Mason Crosby kicked the go-ahead 56-yard field goal with under 2 minutes left to put the Packers up 3. Dan Bailey then tied it with 40 seconds left. And on the final drive of the game, Aaron Rodgers threw a 36-yard pass to Jared Cook on 3rd and 20 to set up Mason Crosby's 51-yard game winner. After the game, both teams reacted. Let's take a listen.
I'm just proud of our guys, man. We stuck together, believed in each other like we have on this entire run. And I don't think anybody doubted that we're going to score on those last two drives, and that says a lot about the character of this team.
We're not going to give up. We believe that we've got a chance in any game, no matter the score, no matter the situation. I mean, down 21-3 in a playoff game against a great quarterback and a great team like that, and you fight back and it comes down to the last 3 seconds on a field goal. I mean, that just shows the character of the guys in that locker room.
So, Shannon, you started to get into it, but what happened yesterday?
Well, I thought the game really played out like I thought it would. I wanted to see if the Cowboys could play from behind. Not by 7 points, not by 10 points, with substantial behind. Because what that did is it allowed them to take Zeke out of the game. And when I say they took Zeke out of the game, he still had 22 carries for over 120 yards. But Zeke needed 30 to 35 touches because at that he was averaging 5 yards per carry. Now, at that rate, he's probably going to be somewhere around 180, almost 200 yards had they continuously fed him. But, Skip, when you fall behind by 18 points, it kind of takes the running game out of the equation because you need chunk plays to get you back into the ball game. Because running the football, you'll run out of time. And I thought the Packers, what surprised me most is that in the first half and for a large portion of the ball game, Rod Marinelli came with the same game plan that he used in Green Bay. He tried to play Aaron Rodgers in coverage. And you can't do that consistently. You can't give a great quarterback a steady diet of anything because eventually he'll build up a tolerance to it and he'll like what he's seeing. And when you rush 3, rush 4, they don't have the one guy that can go get home. So even though you're rushing 3, now you got 5 on 3. And Aaron Rodgers just bouncing, and buying his time. When he's playing like this, he's virtually impossible. If you look at him over the last 8 weeks, he's made one bad throw, and it gave Dallas life. It breathed life back into Dallas, and they got back into this ball game. But I knew he was going to be great. He's historically great, like I've always said he was. The Cowboys defense got exposed, like I said they would. It's a whole different ball game when the Cowboys offense is on the field 35, 36, 37 minutes, and their defense only has to play between 22 and 25 minutes. Skip, they've never been a great defense. They have nothing on offense as far as defensive line. Where's you got David Irvin? He was jumping off your TV the last couple of weeks. Did you hear his name called yesterday? I did not. Well, I probably didn't hear it because I had the sound turned down. But I didn't see him make a play. And then the back end, Mo Claiborne is coming back. All I saw was number 24.
No, actually, hands to the face, 24. Hands to the face. The most bogus penalty called all day yesterday. But I'll get to that in just a second. So, by the way, he got hurt early in the game and was gone. So go ahead.
Didn't I tell you that? When a guy's out for that length of time, what's the likelihood of him coming back? He got to play. That's not on the side with the
ribs.
trainers.
He got ribs hurt.
But when I look at Aaron Rodgers and I look at this Packers team with the way they're playing offensively, and everybody talking about he's missing Jordy Nelson. Jordy Nelson didn't make Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is what's the word you use, Skip?
Transcendent or transcendental.
Yes.
I'd like to go
I like that transcendental because you put the tall on the. Oh, I love it when you say that. Skip, you like my bow tie? I can get you one. Oh man, Aaron Rodgers, that's a bad man. That's he had 35 seconds, 2 timeouts. Everybody talking about we're going to overtime. I was like, in what? This game is over. Did you actually think you would go get the ball back, Skip? Oh my goodness, Skip, I can't even believe you. And you went to church on Sunday.
I'm biting my tongue over here until it's my turn.
You should have bitten it off. Everybody was sending me the tweets that Skip Bayless is tweeting out. I'm like, leave me alone. Let me enjoy this masterpiece.
Why do you read your replies, your ats? Why wouldn't you ignore it?
No.
I wasn't tweeting you. Your followers were tweeting you, and you were looking every second at what they were saying, which will be your downfall before this is over.
My downfall is I don't have a downfall now. Because guess what? My downfall won't come until next September. Because guess what? That was the only meaningful conversation we'll have about the Cowboys. You take it away.
Wait a second. You picked Seattle to win the Super
No,
Bowl?
No, Skip, don't do that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Just for the
Don't do that. I've already. I picked Green Bay on Friday. I picked Green Bay on Monday, on Sunday. So don't worry about who I picked.
It was all about the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Before I unleash on this, let me say to Cowboy Nation, I have your back for the next 2.5 hours on this show. I am so proud of our football team who played such a great game from 21-3 down yesterday.
Oh, my goodness.
Was so impressed with yesterday and the future. Thank you, Dallas Cowboys, for a great year, and this was such a great, fun team to watch. Thank you. Now I'm on to the next point.
Are the Cowboys 3-year-olds just learning to tie their shoe that you're patting them on the back?
They lost one game by 1 point, one by 3, and then yesterday by 3.
Lost.
Whew. Here we go. So now, all the way home yesterday, I thought my Cowboys were going to win this game because if Dak Prescott had gotten the ball back, he would have made one more play than Aaron Rodgers made yesterday. To the bitter end, despite all the terrible calls that my team suffered through, despite all the bad breaks my team got, I still thought Dak would make the last play of the game, which leads to those late 2 field goals. First, the 56-yarder. These are the 2 most bizarre back-to-back field goals, certainly late in the game, I have ever witnessed. The first one, if you know golf, he actually fades it. It's almost a slice, okay?
Mason like Crosby. A wiffle ball, like you throw a wiffle ball high and move.
And it's cutting, and it's cutting, and it's cutting, if we could see it. And I think it's going to cut to the right, and somehow it greases through just over the crossbar and just inside the right upright from 56 yards. God bless you, Mason Crosby. You did it. And you saved Aaron Rodgers from himself at that point, but I'll get that in a second. Now, the game-winning field goal, obviously the first one got negated by a timeout by Jason Garrett, and he hit that one really well. But the second one, he does the opposite of, the one that was going to count. He snap hooks it. And you know and I know, just from golf, that if you hook a ball and it starts to hook, it won't just suddenly go straight unless there's a crosswind. I think they were inside Jerry world.
Yep.
Unless there was a collective breath of all the Packer fans, and there were way too many Packer fans in that building yesterday. Maybe they all blew it back in. I don't know. But Jerry Jones told the New York Times last week that he made a deal with the man upstairs for his third Super Bowl, the one that Barry Switzer won. Mm-hmm. And he said to the man upstairs, according to Jerry, if you'll give me this one, I'll never ask for another one again. And he says, I've been trying to unmake that deal for years, for 20 years. Maybe it was the hand of God that actually pulled the field goal, the last one, the game winner, back inside the left upright. So he goes slice and he goes hook, and somehow both of them stay in and go through, and I'm on my floor looking up at the ceiling saying, why me, God? Thank you very much for that.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. Why? How did those two go through? So now let's go back through. How did it get to 21-3 down to Aaron Rodgers, which is the absolute worst thing that my Cowboys could do? Am I right?
Yeah.
The one thing you don't want to do is play from behind against Aaron Rodgers. They haven't played from behind all year except for the game at San Francisco against Blaine Gabbert. But again, Aaron Rodgers isn't exactly Blaine Gabbert. So what happens in that first series? It's 3rd and 5, incomplete. And Aaron Rodgers, the greatest trickster in the NFL history, he tricks him with another quick snap, 12 men on the field. Way to go. If you can't beat him, trick him. Aaron, I'm impressed.
Why are you trying to run guys on the field? What are you trying to substitute for?
They shouldn't have. But again, it's just so beneath a great quarterback to have to trick another
Brady
defense.
does it all the time.
Oh, he doesn't do that. He doesn't do it at all. So then let's go to the key moment. This is the turning point in the whole football game for me. Aaron Rodgers goes to score, so it's 7-3, and here comes Dak. Boom, 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 down the field. He hits Terrence Williams 22 yards down to the Green Bay 15-yard line. What? There's a flag on the field. It's way over on the other side. What is this about? Wait a second. They call Bryce Butler for illegal participation in the huddle?
Yeah.
I've never seen this. He didn't go in the huddle. Wait, he didn't go in the huddle. He didn't participate. He didn't duck in and hear a play called and then leave. I get it that should be against the rules. He just ran on by mistake. He looks backward. Is he in the huddle?
Yes.
He's not even in the huddle.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not in the game.
Yes.
I'm out. I'm out of the game.
Oh.
Wait a second. Oh, that's a 15-yard penalty. That's absurd. That's robbery. And it's the same referee that I saw back patting Aaron Rodgers, slapping him on the back earlier in the game, yucking it up with him. It's an Aaron Rodgers special. You're going to let them off the hook. You're going to take away the 22-yarder and go 15 yards the other way, and they have to punt. Turning point in the game.
Skip.
It's going to be 10-7 Dallas. They're going to stay on serve. Oh,
how do you get to a turning point 9 minutes into a ball game?
Because you can't play behind Aaron Rodgers. You have to keep the heat on him. He's like LeBron. Don't let him front run. Make him sweat. Make him start to see ghosts.
Why can't the Cowboys be like Michael Jordan and come from behind?
Well, they did. I think they tied it at 28-all and at 31-all, which is completely against the odds.
Who's going to the Georgia Dome next week?
Wait a second. I'm just getting rolling here. So then that of course, goes to 14-3 Green Bay, and all of a sudden, that's looking like trouble. So then, once again, Green Bay gets the ball back, and here they come again, 3rd and 6 at the Green Bay 36. And to your point and your penalty that you noted earlier, Mo Claiborne gets on 3rd and 6, incomplete. We're going to get the ball, and there's some silly little push, hands to the face. It's hands to the what?
Yes.
He pushed him in the neck.
Okay, you can't do that.
You can't. Come on. It's the most ticky-tack, low-rent penalty that you could call, and it lets Aaron Rodgers off the hook again. He's going to have to punt. And what happens? Boom, boom, boom. He goes in.
What about your defense?
21. I'm getting to my defense, and thank you very much for bringing that up. Because at 21-3 down, you can look at my Twitter timeline. I didn't sweat. I didn't say, oh, we're in trouble. This game's over. You know why? Because I believe in Dak Prescott. I believe in the Cowboy defense. And all of a sudden, at 21-3 down to Aaron bleeping Rodgers, they snapped out of it, and Dak got hot, and Dez got hot, and Zeke got hot. And the defense got hot because for the next 2.5 quarters against historically great Aaron Rodgers, transcendental or transcendent, whatever you want to call him, special Aaron Rodgers, he got controlled and contained for the next 2.5 quarters because all he did was score 7 points. That's from mid-second quarter on all the way to the end. And he got 2 Dallas to Houston bizarre field goals at the very end. And that saved his bacon. But I got to tell you, The defense started to attack. They started to send blitzers. It's Heath off the edge. It's Scandrick off the edge. It's Sean Lee up the middle. And they started to make Aaron Rodgers sweat. And what happened? They get back in the game, and they roll down at the end of the half, and they got it in the red zone. And what happens? More robbery. Jason Witten on 2nd and goal and 3rd and goal gets held by defensive backs. And the second one was really egregious. He gets tackled by one of those defensive backs. That's just a tackle and a turn. You can't do that. That's interference. It should be 1st and goal at the 1. And guess what? It took 4 points off the board, and you don't think those are going to be crucial in the second half of a tie game and a tie game that was won by a last-second field goal? And they took them away. So instead of 21-17, it's 21-13. But amazingly, the defense hangs in and hangs on. And what happened to Aaron Rodgers? What happened to the great Aaron Rodgers? Late in the 3rd quarter, he threw an interception. He just flings it up, I know not where, and Jeff Heath came down with it. And I'm saying, well, he's starting to unravel a little bit. He's starting to feel it. And then what happened just inside the 2-minute warning? Aaron Rodgers again got taken off the hook. Remember, he throws a second interception. Same song, next verse.
Did Ty Montgomery get turned around?
He got fouled by the kid Anthony Brown.
Yeah.
And guess what? It had nothing to do with causing the interception. The interception is the Cowboys are screaming on the sideline. It's an uncatchable ball. He threw it 15 yards over Ty Montgomery's head, and Jeff Heath intercepts it. So once again, how lucky was Aaron Rodgers to be taken off the hook? At that point, if you give Dak Prescott the ball with 1:50 to go on his 15-yard line, and it's a tie game, I say, God bless you, because he's coming the other way, and I think I'm going to win that game. But instead, it gets erased, and it was a penalty. He just reached out and grabbed Ty Montgomery. It's another kid. I got 3 rookies starting, and the 3rd rookie made a rookie mistake. And the point is, how lucky was Aaron Rodgers? That didn't cause the interception. It just negated the interception. Or all of a sudden, the guy everybody's calling now the GOAT, as in greatest of all time, would have been the GOAT of the game with 2 interceptions.
Skip. In the rule book, as far as penalties are called, they don't throw penalties on whether or not the guy could have caught the football or it was an interception. That's not how they call penalties. Did he interfere with Ty Montgomery?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yes.
But let me ask you a question.
Did it cause the interception? Yes or no?
Yes.
No, it did not. There's no way Ty Montgomery's even in the area code of that ball.
How do you know that if he doesn't spin him around?
Because I saw it. The ball's 20 yards over his head,
it wasn't.
and Heath goes down and catches it at the 15.
He spins him around. Look where Ty Montgomery is, and the guy spinning him around. Look at this.
There's no way.
Skip. But anyway,
there's no way he's
let me ask
going
you
to
a
get to the football. There's no way he's going to get to the football.
Did you see Devontae Adams' jersey hanging off his shoulder pads?
Mm-hmm.
I guess he got
bad
dressed.
call. He got one bad call. I'll give you that one. That was the only one I saw in Green Bay's favor the whole day. And I just gave you 5 against me, including Bryce Butler.
First of all, the reason why they institute the substitution penalties is because guys were getting tricky. They were running players in with no intent of having them be in the play. And so defenses, they're looking at formations. They're looking at people coming on the field so they can run their defense accordingly. Mm-hmm. Dallas was trying to get slick. And so the NFL instituted a policy. If a guy comes into a huddle, he needs to participate in at least one play. With that being...
He didn't go into the huddle. You could just see him turn around. Look, Bryce Butler can be a nightmare. He drops balls. He dropped a touchdown pass. He dropped a ball right after that play in which he was called for the illegal participation. He makes boneheaded mistakes, and he was in the game when he wasn't supposed to be, and the sideline is saying, get out of the game. So he's not trying to trick anybody. He doesn't even get to the huddle. He turns around and looks at the sideline and says, okay, I'll run out. You can't flag that.
Skip.
That's just a mistake.
In pro sports, it's about results. It's not about, you don't get to say, I'm the most beautiful girl in the beauty pageant if you don't win. The girl that won is the most beautiful girl. You don't get to sit up here and bloviate and pound your chest about my guy Dak Prescott and my rookies.
I'm bloviating.
I'm proud.
Pounding.
I'm proud.
Yeah,
I'm so proud.
Dak Prescott outplayed Aaron Rodgers all the way down to the last play. Yes.
When I ask you this we came in after Thanksgiving, so that Monday, when Kirk Cousins threw for 449 yards, I said he outplayed Dak Prescott. You said no way because Dak Prescott got the ball in the end zone in the red zone.
He did.
But now you sit up here 3 weeks late, a month later, and you're going to talk about Dak Prescott in a loss. outplayed Aaron Rodgers.
Because Jason Witten got fouled. It's an obvious pass.
So what about
interference.
what about Devontae Adams? Did he get fouled?
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that one.
Okay.
And your point
so
is?
we even.
You're even. I just gave you 5 calls. Stop
making excuses. You have
Mine cost a touchdown. Did Devontae's cost a touchdown?
Hold up.
Heck no.
Oh, I thought we were going to see a lot of this.
No.
I thought we were going to see a lot of this.
Well, again, you made the point. If you take them out of what they do, if you take them off serve
like
and they get behind 21-3, although I must admit there were times later in the game I wanted to see a little more of this, but they kept the game. But I can't argue with it. It got to 28-all and 31-all, so I cannot argue with strategy when they come back against the great Aaron Rodgers and tied him at 28. Are you kidding me?
And got sent home.
Shannon Sharpe. That game should have been 40-14. Yes, it should have.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the way you measure sports, pro sports, is about advancing. Whether you win 45-14 or you win 34-31. I did predict the score would be 34-30. That was my prediction. I said the Green Bay Packers would score 34 points.
Did you predict 21-3? I don't remember. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you predicted.
I predicted the win. I also predicted the look on your face on Monday when it come in and there would be
So let's
one
get
and
to the all-time great last play. What do you call it? The greatest play in the history of passing?
I think when I go back and I look at a lot of great throws, I think this is the under the circumstances. Now, you could look at Eli's throw. I think it might have been third down to Mario Manningham.
It was.
You could look at the throw to Ben Roethlisberger to Santonio Holmes in the end zone against the Arizona Cardinals.
That simply won a Super Bowl is all that did.
But to do this, to roll to your – and this is what separates him.
And there was Montana to John Taylor to win the Super Bowl, and I could go on. There was the Hale Flacco play at Denver to win that playoff game, but go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Yeah. I mean, you got all these. You go ahead, and I'll finish up after you. Go ahead.
Good. So here we are to the last play of the game, the big play, the 3rd and 20. And what happens before that? They attack. Jeff Heath off the right corner. Aaron Rodgers doesn't see him. I give high props to Aaron Rodgers for hanging on to the football because he took a pretty good lick from a guy who will hit you in Jeff Heath. And he hung on to the football, which forces 3rd and 20 at the 32. 3rd and 20 at the 32. And what happened? Mike McCarthy called a great play, and my coordinator, Rod Marinelli, called a dumb scheme. And this is, look, I give him high marks for attack, containing and controlling Aaron Rodgers from 21-3 all the way to this moment. But he did so by sending an extra rusher. No more 3-man mush rush. No more just trying to keep him in the pocket. And as you say, pat. This time, he goes back to that again, and they played the abominable prevent defense on 3rd and 20. I hate prevent defense. If you know me from the old show, I used to rant and rave about prevent defense. It prevents you from winning the football game. They had attacked and played to win from 21-3 all the way to that moment. And on the key play of the game, 3rd and 20, they go back to what got them in the 21-3 hole, which is, we'll just sit back here in deep zones and see if we can make a play. So what happens? They rush 3 against 5 blockers across the front, plus Ripkowski in the backfield. So it's 3 rushing against 6. And let me point out one more egregious non-call. If you look carefully at this, we're watching the play right now, but if you look carefully at what happens in the middle of the field, David Irving just gets thrown down by T.J. Lang. Did you see that? T.J. isn't even blocking him, and he reaches out and grabs him by the shoulder pads and throws him on the ground. Are they going to call that against Aaron Rodgers?
We see nothing?
Nope. We see nothing. Look, watch this. Throws him. He grabs him from behind and throws him down. Is that not the most blatant, outrageous hold you've ever seen?
I didn't see anything.
It should have been, boom, flag, 10 yards, go backwards, and it's going to go to overtime at that point. How can you not call that on the play of the game? Oh, it's probably the referee who was slapping Aaron Rodgers.
But you don't have a problem when they slap Tom Brady and help Tom Brady up. You have no problem with that. With everything Aaron Rodgers does.
Now let me continue about what a great play call this was by Mike McCarthy, because obviously
it wasn't a play call.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, baloney, it wasn't.
Randall Cobb said they didn't call a play.
Yes,
he
they
said,
did.
I'm telling you what Randall Cobb said.
He's got a protector. He's got a pulling guard going out there.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
I don't care. I've seen the play before.
I'm talking about
the routes. Okay, I don't know about the routes, but Jared Cook ran the route that he was going to run.
Yes.
And here's the point. well, I've seen this play several times from Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure they've seen it on tape. What he does is he does the reverse pivot in the pocket, and he goes to his left. So he's not scrambling. He is rolling out.
Dash.
Yeah, it's not dash. It's a rollout. But, okay, what?
This man
well, I don't know what your terminology is, but, okay, so he's rolling out to the left. It's not even a dash play. We talked about the dash plays the other day on the sprint right.
Skip.
Okay.
When you back up and then you pivot, you dash, you on a sprint. Was he walking? Was he jogging?
No, he kind of was jogging, but the point is, they pull the guard out. The left guard pulls with him as his personal protector.
Yes.
So my guy, the spy, Justin Durant,
yes.
he just stands and watches. He's like useless on the play until the last second, and then he goes. And the point is, you give Aaron Rodgers time to wait for Jared Cook to come from all the way opposite the formation. He's on the right side of the formation. He goes a simple down and across. What's happening in the defensive backfield? You have 7 Dallas Cowboys against 4 receivers. Shouldn't you be able to cover people 7 on 4? Shouldn't you? Seriously. And what happens? Jared Cook, who had been the number one target all day long of Aaron Rodgers without Jordy Nelson, he's able to run down and a deep cross, past the chain, past the marker.
But go ahead.
Okay, far
That's
cross.
Not what it's called, though.
And, okay, but here's the point. Aaron Rodgers has time to run, and he throws it off the wrong foot, which he's very good at. We all know he's much better throwing on the run than he is standing still. That's just me. And what does he do? He doesn't throw his usual spiral missile. He actually throws a wobbler. By Aaron Rodgers standards, this is a wobbler. And it actually curves to the left because he's running to his left, and he whips it, and it kind of does the curveball effect, and it starts to curve to the left. And what happens to Byron Jones? My guy, Byron Jones, very talented. Sometimes he loses a little bit, loses his way mentally. Kid from Connecticut. He takes one look at Jared Cook and lets him run uncontested to the sideline. On the play of the game, Jared Cook is left alone on the sideline. This is an uncontested play with nobody covering. 7 DBs, 4 receivers, and you let Jared Cook alone on the sideline. And props to him. For a tight end, that's not the easiest catch. Well, you should know this. To do the tiptoes and keep it down.
That's a very good catch.
But it's a pretty easy throw for Aaron Rodgers because there's nobody in his vision. He just throws it straight up the sideline, little curveball, little wobble. But Jared Cook just pulls it in, and all of a sudden you've got a 50-yard field goal.
In the 97-year history of the National Football League, how many right-handed quarterbacks can make that throw?
He can make that throw. I will give you that. I'm sure I could name 30 who could make it, but he's very good at it.
I can't name any that can make that throw in that situation.
I don't think that one was that hard. He's uncontested on his end and uncontested on that end. It's not like he had to fit the ball. He didn't have to fit it anywhere.
Skip, look where the ball lands. Think about that. He's 36 yards away.
Yeah.
He's rolling to his left as a right-handed quarterback. He has to open his hips.
He did.
And he's not planning.
He's good
not
at
driving
it. He likes it. That's one of his favorite throws.
First of all, can I take the fans through this play?
Sure.
This is a dash because the reason why Justin Durant, who's spying on him, can't come is because Aaron Rodgers drops straight back. He can only start to knife the play, which means attack Aaron Rodgers once he sees him leave the pocket. That's why they pull the guard, because they know if he dashes, they're taught to come.
Okay.
Remember I told you what they should have did in the Alabama play, the last play, when the guy dashed? They supposed to have somebody come right now.
Okay.
Now
nobody came. And he's got a protector out there anyway, so nobody's going to get to him. It's a great call, great play call.
That was the whole purpose, because Justin Durant has to hold his responsibility. He can't just go fly. He doesn't know Aaron Rodgers is going to go to his left. He could easily go to his right because he's a right-handed quarterback. If you remember early on, he did roll to his right and hit a back shoulder to Jared Cook, dragging across. This play, he drops back. He pivots. He dashes towards the sideline. Now, everybody's thinking that he's going to rear back and throw the ball into the end as far as he can throw it. Buys himself some time.
I didn't think that. Go ahead.
But anyway, Skip, this is 36 yards away. A guy off one foot. He's right-handed to his left.
It's great.
He's throwing that ball into not a basket, they throw the ball into the trash cans every day so who can do. He's throwing this ball into a bucket. Not a trash can, a bucket from 36 yards away.
Okay, but he doesn't have to fit it between defenders. There's no defender there. He's wide open.
But Skip, Let me ask you a question. If I put a bucket over there and I give you one try and you got to fit a ball this big into that bucket from 36 yards away, could you do it?
Okay, but the point is, the guy, I don't know how tall Jared Cook is. He's 6'4" or 5?
Yeah, he's probably about 6'4" or 5.
Okay, all right, so he's a pretty big target with nobody on him. There's nobody covering him.
Skip.
You don't have to throw it in a bucket in a keyhole.
Skip, look where the guy is.
Okay.
The guy has to toe touch. He's rolling to his left as a right-handed quarterback.
Here's my point. By Aaron Rodgers' standards, we all know he can really wing it. That was a pretty easy pitch and catch throw. There's nobody on Aaron Rodgers, and there's nobody on Jared Cook. It's straight up the sideline. Your vision is wide open. I see my guy. That's the guy I want, and they're not covering my guy. Surely he can make that throw.
Aaron Rodgers is so historically great, he made that play look routine, and that's what the great ones can do.
Dak Prescott could make that play. He makes him run into his left all the time. He could make that throw. Trust me, he makes that throw.
You said he could.
Well, he could.
I'm telling you what Aaron Rodgers
make it under pressure, I can tell you that.
Think about this, Skip. He had a 28-10 lead. Dallas ties the game. He leads them down the field. It's 31-28. Dak comes right back down the field. It's 31-31. So Aaron Rodgers has 35 seconds and 2 timeouts under those circumstances. Now, I'm not so sure that if they go into overtime, the Packers are going to win this game because clearly the momentum had gone back into Dallas's favor. And for him to make that throw because look here, the pass to Joe Montana to John Taylor, that's 200 jet excellent. Throw it all day, all night, no problem. And the Eli Manning to Mario Manningham, they're playing cover 2. He fitted in the seam.
He did. It was a great throw.
The throw, the sprint out, the roll out that Ben Roethlisberger hit San Antonio Holmes, it was a great catch. You look at where this young man but all of those were in the pocket. Joe didn't move. This man rolls to his left.
Well, now Ben rolled to his didn't he roll to his right? Okay, I got it.
He rolls to his left as a right-handed quarterback, opens his hip 1 foot off the ground. He throws it 36 yards into basically a bucket.
Okay, it's not a bucket. It's to a 6'5" guy wide open on the sideline. You don't have to fit it. It's not like he's got 2 defenders hanging all over him. It's a throw that Aaron Rodgers, by his great standards, should make every time, and he did make it, which leads me back. You're looking at it upside down from me because remember, my defense had attacked him and made him look ordinary for much of the long stretch from the middle of the second quarter until the end of the game.
Skip, he had 356.
Okay, but he got a lot of them early. I can tell you what his numbers were. They were like 129 before that last play. From mid-second quarter until that last play, he'd thrown for 129 yards, 12 out of 22. Those are ordinary numbers by his standards. They had attacked him, and they had him on his heels. They blitzed and sacked him on the previous play. So answer me this, and I know it's an easy second guess, but at least I'm on record on the other show and many times in my career, I despise prevent defense. Why on the key play would you back off and let them run whatever they want to run when if you attack on 3rd and 20, this is just me, he's got to have some time to get the ball upfield. So if you keep playing the rush the way you play it, if you send Skandrick this time or send Sean Lee up the middle this time, do something else different to get him off his spot, make him sweat. Maybe if you blitz off the right side again, he can't get out into the flat. Maybe you beat his personal protector out into the flat, but they didn't play to win. They played not to lose on the last play of the game, and they lost.
But here's the thing, Skip. It happened to us. I was playing with the Ravens in 2000. It was 3rd and 18 from the 4-yard line, and Chuck Bresnahan brought a blitz. We creased the seam. I go 96. Everybody said, why didn't you just play coverage? You had him backed up. You see, he was in a no-win situation. Now, if he comes after him and he complete, because you have to remember.
But wasn't that in the, I can't remember what quarter it was, second?
That was in the first quarter.
First quarter.
But I'm just saying, but here's the thing, what you have to understand, Skip. They had a timeout. If you try to come after him, he hits a ball in the middle of the field.
Okay.
See, everything's in play because he still has the timeout, Skip.
Okay, but the way I was watching that game, they had flipped the script on him, and then they unflipped it on the last play, and they let him do what he dictated to them on the last play, and it cost him the football game. Now, Mason Crosby had to hook it inside the left upright, but still,
but even when they
cost him the football game.
But even when they brought the blitz to Heath, they didn't fool him. Ty Montgomery got caught up inside. He has to look. He has 2-1. If the man in the middle, if the inside guy does not come, automatically you go to here. He got caught up and then tried to spin too late. Once you see the guy's not coming, you automatically go to the edge.
But on the previous play, they just flat out fooled him because Jeff Heath blindsided him. He never saw Jeff Heath.
Skip.
Am I right?
He was supposed to be protected by Ty Montgomery. That's what I'm telling you.
Oh, you're talking about that
yes.
play.
Yes. Ty Montgomery, they didn't fool him. That's why Aaron Rodgers didn't turn around. He's supposed to be protected by Ty Montgomery. Ty Montgomery has 2-1, which means if the inside guy comes, Aaron Rodgers knows he's going to have to get rid of the ball because the edge guy is unblocked.
Okay, but if you want to know what tore my guts out, it's that they got all the way back to 28-all and 31-31 by attacking Aaron Rodgers. And on the play of the game, they sat back. And no, how can you have 7 versus 4 in the secondary and not cover the primary receiver who's caught the most balls so far in the game?
Even
how can you do that?
And even when they sacked, I think it was Hitchens or maybe Durant, when they sacked him, Aaron Rodgers is on a 5-step drop. You can't cut a defender.
Scandrick got it.
You can't cut a guy on a 5-step drop. Only time you can cut a guy is on a 3-step drop because you're expecting the ball to come out on a slant or a quick throw. But on the 5-step drop, Skip, you got to stay up. If the guy runs over you, so be it. Because on the 5-step drop, if you cut him, guess what he's going to do, Skip? Get up, make the sack like he did. Ty Montgomery, you have 2-1. If the inside guys come, you got to step in the hole immediately. Aaron Rodgers, you have nobody. Aaron Rodgers, like, the inside guy's not even coming. So he should not have even worried about an inside rusher. Immediately go to Heath. If he went to Heath, but the obvious, for me, Skip, the best part of the drive, you could talk about the throw, you could talk about the catch. How did Aaron Rodgers hold on to that football?
I said it. I give you that one. I told you. I give you that one.
Because I'm not sure very many quarterbacks hold on to that ball because he fumbles that ball, Skip. They're on the 22, the 32-yard line. They're going to run 2 plays. Right. They're going to bring Bailey out,
the clock,
and it's over.
I agree.
So
he hung on. I give him that.
But Skip, now look, I think Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback. Skip, I played this game for 14 years, and I saw Seven make some throws. I saw him dash and throw the ball 60 yards back across the field to Vance Johnson. Skip, I don't think people realize just how difficult that play is that he made to Jared Cook. I'm telling you, Skip.
No, I got it.
No, Skip. No,
I do.
He makes it look routine, but that's not a routine throw.
And by the way, Elway had a bigger arm than this guy.
Yes,
does.
yeah.
Now, he didn't whip it. He didn't get rid of it as quick.
Aaron Rodgers, he has Montana's touch. He has Marino's throwing ability. He has Elway's legs. Now, we're taking bits and pieces from 3 of the all-time great quarterbacks.
Yep.
But that one man has them all.
Yep. And he almost had 2 interceptions that cost him the game and made him the GOAT to the game, which is why I still say, bottom line.
Why you do all these butts, though, Skip?
The reason I'm hanging in with my Cowboys, the reason I'm so proud of them is because Dak Prescott did not fold yesterday when you had predicted on Friday, I want to see the game in Dak's hands.
Yes.
Was it not in his hands? Did he not bring them back from 21-3 to 28-all and 31-31?
But
that's pretty great for a kid, right?
The Packers got caught in no man because they gave up 300 yards throwing to Dak, and they also gave up 120 plus to Ezekiel. I was saying, look, you take Zeke out of the equation. You give him somewhere around 70, 80, and you make Dak go get 350, 375. But they got caught in the middle because they're like, okay, well, we can't. Because Dez started to heat up, and they had a rookie. I guess he was a rookie or a second-year player. He started to heat up.
I still think he's a pretty good player. He just couldn't cover Dez Bryant.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. On a bomb blitz, when Dez caught the touchdown in the red zone, on a bomb blitz, you never get the inside. That's the easiest throw. So you take that away. And normally, when a guy goes up, you don't go around his waist, you chop his arms. Once he gets inside of you, he's trying to drag him down. Even if you drag him down the end zone, it's a touchdown if he has the ball. You got to chop his arms. So he's a young player. He did a lot of panicking. I tell you, it's easy to do in practice, but when the money's on the line, you know the magnitude of this game going into it. You feel the momentum start to shift, and you start panicking. On the pass interference, he didn't have to interfere with Dez because the ball was behind Dez. Dez's momentum was going to take him out of bounds, but he panicked. Dez did a good thing, sticking his arm out, make it seem like he could catch the football.
Was the throw in a good spot?
I don't think Dez could have caught the ball even if the defender hadn't interfered with him. But Skip,
Right there.
this is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see them get a lead because I told you the defense could be exposed. And yeah, they blitzed, but I thought the mistake that they made is that they played the exact same coverage for a better part of a half that they played in Green Bay. And remember, I told you the team that loses has a decided up advantage because they say we can go back and look at this is where we got beat at. I knew Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to turn the football over 4 times, but when you win, I don't care. It's just human nature. It's hard for Rod Marinelli to get their attention because they won 30-16.
So will you give Dak Prescott any credit for the way he hung in and played yesterday?
I get credit for you. Get credit for winning. This ain't no. They lost, Skip. They lost. You don't give anybody else no credit when they play well.
And his offense winds up with 429 total yards to only 414 for Green Bay. And QBR, my favorite stat, Aaron Rodgers had an 84 to Dak's 83 because Dak made one stupid rookie mistake.
What did he do?
He tried to flip it in the flat, and why they didn't run Zeke on that play at 2nd and 2 at that point, I have no
you talking
idea.
about when he got picked?
Yeah.
Skip.
And he tried to hang on to the ball and tried to throw it in the ground. And he throws it right to Micah Hyde.
No. What happens, Skip, is that's great film study. Sometimes you can see stuff, but here's the thing. You still got to make the play because sometimes you see things develop and guys don't make the play. That is great film study because why would he saw when Dez Bryant takes one step, they're throwing him the quick screen. Skip, he didn't bat an eye. It's like the Malcolm Butler. He believed what he saw.
Yep.
He believed this film study, and he went and made a play. Because Malcolm Butler could have easily in the Super Bowl jumped on that ball and it been incomplete.
So Zeke had just gotten to 8 yards and it's 2nd and 2. Why wouldn't you feed the beast at that point?
I could have swore I said the same thing about Marshawn Lynch. He had just gotten 5 yards down to the 1. Why would you not feed the beast?
Because that year he had tried 5 times from the 1 yard line and been stopped 4 times.
Didn't they stop Zeke early in the game on a 3rd and 2? Yes, they did. Stopped him. For a no yard gain, and they went for it on 4th down. But I don't want to get into all that, Skip. This is what we know. What I told you was going to happen from about 2 months on.
You told me this was going to happen? It was going to be 28 all?
I said there would be one and done.
Oh. Well, you got that one right. I'll give you that. You finally got one right.
Can I ask you a question?
It took you a whole year to finally get one right. I'm impressed.
Can I ask you a question? You think the NFL will get my credentials back now?
Yep, you're back in the Hall of Fame.
Well, either way,
Skip, I didn't want you to.
I got your back, Cowboy Nation.
Skip, this hurts me because you're hurting.
Yeah, we can see that.
I'm fine.
No,
you know
you're
what?
not fine.
Just for old time's sake, how about them Cowboys?
No mercy. In the play everyone's talking about, Aaron Rodgers threw a 36-yard completion to Jared Cook on 3rd and 20 in the closing seconds that led to the game-winning field goal by Mason Crosby. Randall Cobb said that the play was, quote, magic, and that Rodgers made the play up in the huddle. Rodgers talked about it after the game. Let's take a listen.
We just moved the pocket a little bit there and had Devontae kind of clearing out Cookie and Cobby coming from the backside. Yeah, it worked out the way we were hoping it would, protection-wise. Lane was out there in front, blocking for me, and I just kind of took my eyes back inside to Randall, thought about throwing to him, and then that allowed Cookie to kind of get on the backside of defender, and he made a great catch.
Joined once again by Chris Carter. Chris, how impressive was that play?
It's very impressive. It's one of those throw and catches that will be in his highlight reel. But in the last 3 years, I mean, it's not the most impressive one he's made for me, because going to your left, throwing it 35 yards, Aaron Rodgers has shown to be able to do that. The Hail Marys, I mean, pick one. Pick any one of the Hail Marys. The Cobb, last week in the back of the end zone, that throw, the trajectory, how you have to throw that outdoor in the element. In the playoffs, going the other way, I mean, that throw was harder than this throw. But
you talk about the Hail Mary to Arizona.
Yeah.
Janice.
That throw was harder. In Detroit. I mean, that was an amazing throw. But, you know, this will be a collection of throws. It's not the greatest throw that Aaron's made. Under the situation, under the circumstances, though, it will elevate. It will definitely be one of the greater throwing catches that we've seen, but not the greatest. And with Aaron, he has so many of late that we could pick one of 5.
For me, I think it's one of the greatest throws I've ever seen in playoff history, given the circumstances. Now, because he can roll to his left, open his hips, and throw off one foot, and get it there because he makes it look routine, maybe some people would devalue it. But you also have to understand this, Skip. His last two playoff games, guess what happened, Skip? He lost them how? In overtime. Never touching the ball. So that's playing into it. Now, he's like, and to make this throw on 3rd and 20, it's not so because, the Hail Marys, you practice those, but there's a lot of bodies around. You're throwing it up and you hope your guy can catch it. Mm-hmm. You're throwing this football on the move to a spot 36 yards down the field, probably a foot from going out of bounds. And you hope Jared Cook is smart enough to not only, because a lot of times guys get so caught up with their feet, they drop the ball. Well, if your feet's inbound and you don't have the football, what good is that? He had to make the catch, and then he has to drag his feet. And then when they reviewed it, it was confirmed because the player went to the ground and completed the process of the catch through the entirety of the motion. There was no 2014 revisit.
The throw was a lot better than the catch. The catch was not a great catch. And actually, because he tried to babysit the ball and cradle the ball into his body, he actually brought his body in arm's way of touching the sideline. He should have reached out and caught the ball with his hand.
Man, ain't nobody trying to catch the ball like that all the time, CC.
Okay, well, what do I know? But when you go down with your body, that's why his knee and his cleats almost hit the white.
CC. That man ain't gonna wear no.
Chris, you're right.
No, CC.
Chris, you're right.
CC.
It was not a great catch.
I know what you're saying. He ain't gonna wear no jacket, right?
CC. Jared Cook is not going to.
You know we don't believe in body catching.
I know.
So stop it.
Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
But he had to finish the play. But the throw was a lot better than the catch.
I mean, he is 6'5", 255, so he's a bigger guy, and he
but
just.
You don't know, normally you see receivers do the toe touch and do those kind of plays. Yeah. Those are not relegated to tight ends. Oh. And for Aaron to do what he did, and I was trying to explain to Skip said, well, why didn't Durant come right now? Because when Aaron Rodgers,
Durant,
he drops straight back, then he pivots and dashes. Now okay, I see him, I got to go. But the Packers was one step in front of him. Let me pull my guard.
He pulled his guard.
Because I know, because Aaron Rodgers, every time he runs out of the pocket, when they're in Green Bay, what did he do? Jason Durant was chasing him down from sideline to sideline. So they know now, when you go outside the pocket, Justin Durant is going to come.
To your point, I thought earlier in this game, Aaron Rodgers made a better throw, rolling to his right on 3rd down to Jared Cook with a rusher hanging all over Aaron Rodgers and 2 safeties hanging all over Jared Cook. He fit it right in there, like through the keyhole, right there. And I was like, that's just too good, man. I mean, you can't. That's just, I give you that one. But here's my problem. Now I'm looking at it upside down because he's rooting for the
I wasn't rooting. I have no vested interest.
You have, like your whole life was on this game. Yeah. He wouldn't have shown up today. But the point is, my Cowboys had gotten to this moment by scrapping the early plan that you guys talked about, and they started sending people from different places on different downs. And I thought over a long stretch of the back end of this game, they had Aaron Rodgers a little bit on his heels. He wasn't sure where the next one was coming from. So now this is the critical play of the game. And again, I don't know if Mike McCarthy called this play or Aaron drew it up in the dirt in the huddle, but bully for him or them, and not so bully for Rod Marinelli, because he got there by attacking and playing to win. And on the play of the game, he played not to lose, because that was flat out prevent that they played on that play. They played deep drop zones, and I've ranted and raved about prevents over my whole career. They prevent winning is what they prevent, because you lose all your attack mode. You sit back and try not to lose this. Hope he makes a mistake. So they send 3 Durant spies against 5 blockers across the front, and Ripkowski is in the backfield. So there's 6 blockers versus 3 rushers.
They're anticipating that if they bring...
They're anticipating this, the attack mode.
Yep. Yes.
But no, they don't attack. So it's 4 receivers, help me out with the math here, versus 7 defenders.
Yes.
7 defenders. And what does Byron Jones do? He can be a little bit lame-brained sometimes. He loses where he is on the football field. A lot of talent out of UConn, high draft pick, late first-round pick. But he's in a zone, a deep drop zone, and he lets Jared Cook go down and what'd you call the deep cross?
He made a crosser.
Yeah,
He just kept
yeah.
crossing.
He just
When
kept
Aaron rolled
crossing
down.
all the way to the other boundary.
Yeah.
And Aaron's got a personal protector. The left guard has pulled, so he's doing okay over there.
Yes.
He knows it, and he even wrong foots the throw. He throws it off his right foot,
Right.
instead of striding with his left foot. And, which is fine, and he's got a clear throwing lane right up the sideline because Jared Cook is uncontested at the boundary. There's nobody on him. Nobody's going to fight him for the football. He is wide open. 4 receivers against 7 defensive backs, and you can't even get a hand in his face or somewhere around him. He is wide open. So to me, Aaron Rodgers should make that throw in his sleep. And he didn't throw the prettiest pass. Usually he throws a bullet spiral. This one's a little wobbly, a little curvy. It had a little curve on it, but it did hit him right in the hands. Bully for then game over, because now you got your 50-yard field goal.
I don't believe Byron Jones thought he could get the ball there. He said, "There's no way."
There's also Cobb was the crosser behind him, so they had him high and low. All right,
Yeah.
he had the choice to either overplay with Aaron in his sights, overplay the tight end, which if he had done, Aaron said, "I eyeballed him." See, that's what held him.
Right,
He said he eyeballed him. He looked to Cobb, so going to his left, he looked back to his right, which would hold the defender, and then which would give you access to the sideline. So, we can analyze it. We can go back and forth. At the end of the day, we got to give somebody credit.
I
All right?
agree.
It's just
or you can tell me my 7 aren't good enough. You can just tell me my 7 aren't good enough to cover.
Most pro coaches are going to play that. I like the blitz at the end.
I do too.
I'd much rather blitz and tackle them than drop back.
That's what I said. Because
I'd much rather.
he's going to need some time to complete a 20-yard pass, right?
They're anticipating blitz. That's why they got Ripkowski in there. They're anticipating the Cowboys bringing protection from where they are on the field.
I agree.
But here's the thing, like CC said, when he looks at Cobb, because you got to remember, he still has a timeout. So if he throws it to
He can throw it in
Cobb,
the field of play.
he can still call timeout, and they're still going to get that. They're going to get an opportunity at a field goal.
Yeah.
So Byron Jones, like, okay, here's Jared Cook on one far cross, and here's dragging slowly behind him.
He did.
Byron Jones can see him at the corner of his eye. If he overplays Cook, he's going to hit Cobb behind him.
Yeah,
and he still has a timeout.
But he glanced at Cook. Byron Jones just glanced at Cook, and then he doesn't watch anybody. He just sits down right there in his little zone and doesn't even he doesn't even bother Jared Cook. That's what killed me.
If you watch Aaron flighted the ball. The ball wasn't a perfect spiral, but the ball wasn't high off the ground. The ball didn't stay in the air a whole bunch of time. So he didn't have a whole bunch of time to recover.
right.
And that's one of the special things about Aaron Rodgers. At the end of the day, sometimes you have to throw your hands up and shake that guy's hand and say, you know something, you're a better man. You're a better ball player than me.
You are a better ball player than he was?
That's what I...
Did he just admit that?
I just loaned him
I
a
think he
hand.
just...
I just loaned him.
Skip. And sometimes that's what you do. At the end of the day, when the game's over, good luck, man. That was a heck of a game. Wish you luck rest of the way.
I'll be a spin class.
Oh boy.
I'm a blow the
Good luck
doors
with
off
that.
him.
I've heard he doesn't follow the rules at spin class.
Yeah.
He doesn't listen to the instructions.
It don't matter.
He don't follow the rules either.
We got a long time, Joe. We got a long time.
Oh,
You got like a
Let's do the
4-year
slow
deal,
play there.
right? Something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, we don't want to talk about that, but I'm going to be here.
No mercy. Last night, the Steelers advanced to the AFC Championship game with an 18-16 win over the Chiefs, thanks to a playoff record 6 field goals by Chris Boswell. After the game, Antonio Brown showed Mike Tomlin's post-game speech in the locker room on Facebook Live. Let's take a listen.
Let's say very little moving forward. Let's start our preparation. We spotted them ass a day and a half. They played yesterday. Our game got tonight. We're going to touch down at 4 o'clock in the morning. So be it. We'll be ready for the ass. But you ain't got to tell them we're coming. Because some of us here might not like the damn wolf kickers and the check signing, right? Keep it low profile. Let's get ready to ball our fist up again here in a few days and be right back at it.
Wow. Skip, congrats on predicting the AFC Championship game correctly, by the way.
Appreciate that.
Should Antonio Brown be punished for broadcasting this?
Look.
Skip, before you get into this, can I say this?
Yes.
Today is Dr. Martin Luther King's holiday. And
Appreciate you
one of
saying
the
that.
greatest Americans, one of the greatest orators of all time that fought so much fought against social injustice, fought for freedoms that he felt every man, woman, and child should enjoy in this great country of America, regardless of your race, regardless of your religion.
Mm-hmm.
And he felt that those that tried to stop and deny that, not only was it a black eye on them, it was also a black eye on this country. So thanks Dr. King for what you did and for what you mean to so many Americans. I don't think people realize what and who and how big and how great this man was. But there is no, I don't think the ball is advanced as far as it is without that man. And I just wanted to say thank him and thank his family for all what he did for us.
Amen to that. Not sure I'm going to be able to go left turn out of that one because it made this seem pretty irrelevant, although I think this is going to be very relevant next Sunday in Foxborough. But now back to the issue. I know Antonio. I like him a lot. He's really a good young man.
He is.
But he's a young man, and this was a really bad idea. And I don't know if he knew exactly what he was doing at the time, but he might get punished enough without his coach punishing him, because he might get punished by the Patriots next Sunday in Foxborough, because I will promise you, Bill Belichick, maybe as we speak, is showing the entire Facebook Live to his team, because you can hear Tomlin in the background. And just to be specific about it, I'm not sure Antonio gets what happened on his Facebook Live, because he's not participating in the post-game, which is around the corner from him. He's in a wing on the locker room, which is kind of disrespectful to the coach in and of itself.
Makes it even
worse, right?
Yes.
But I don't think he got that the sound would carry far enough to go live to his audience on Facebook.
Did. That's why he did it.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Because he keeps talking during Tomlin, which is disrespectful, but he keeps talking to his Facebook crowd. We got 40K. And then he'll ask a couple of the receivers around him, what do you think? And you can still hear Tomlin ranting and raving.
But if you notice, he was not in sight where Tomlin can see him.
No,
he's
he's around the corner.
So that way he wanted to do it, but he didn't want it to be noticed.
Okay, well, obviously, the things that Mike Tomlin intended for the ears only of his Pittsburgh Steelers are now going to go straight into the Foxborough ears of the Patriots, and it's going to anger them, and who knows whether it will inspire them. You can say pregame words or just words, but I think this one cut a little deeper than that. Mm-hmm. And if I'm Mike Tomlin, I would call my team together today, and I would call out Antonio in front of the team, because the great irony was that while Antonio was engaging in a self-promotional me thing, Tomlin was talking about how we need to pull together and unite against those bleepity-bleeping Patriots, and let's keep it in-house. And you can hear a couple of the team leaders chime in and say, keep cool on social media. And then another one pipes up and says, it's a lion's den where we're going into this week. Keep your mouth shut and let's play Steeler football. And as they're saying it, Antonio is projecting it to the world and to the Patriots. It's like the ultimate betrayal, which, again, do I think that Antonio meant to betray his team?
Yes, he did, absolutely.
Would you think so? But it's not like conscious thought of...
Skip, when you do Facebook Live, you know it's unedited. Know it's anybody that follows Skip Bayless on Facebook, they can hear and see what Skip Bayless is doing.
You can't take it back.
And you want them to hear and see what Skip is doing. When you have Hazel and she's running around, you want people to see that. Skip, I don't know what the max punishment or the penalty that a team can impose on a player. Maybe it's $50,000, but I would fine him for conduct detrimental to the team, not for the bulletin board material. Because I can care less about that, because they're going to have to play the game on Sunday, regardless whether you say a little or you say a lot. It's the uncomfortable position you just put your head coach in at the annual coaches meeting. When they have to come to the middle of the field and talk before the game, how's that conversation going to play out now, Skip? Now, look, do I think Mike Tomlin is the only one that feels this way about the Patriots and Coach Belichick? Absolutely not. But to think it is one thing, but to hear it is something entirely different. See, I'm a firm believer, Skip, that sometimes the punishment, because what Antonio Brown did, his fate is already sealed. I want the punishment to be severe. I want it to be swift, and I want it to be harsh, because I want to deter others from doing such acts. Think about it, and I keep telling this. It's all about brands. It's all about likes and mentions, because he wanted to see how many likes can I get. It's being reported.
It's how big an audience, because he kept looking, saying, I'm up to 40K now. He's telling the receivers next to him, I got 30K. I'm up to 40K now. My audience is growing. Keep talking.
That's the problem. See, and I don't think Antonio Brown is selfish. He's a hard worker, and I love his game.
So do I. And by the way, he did make a big grab at the end of the game to kill the clock, but go ahead.
It's still Brandon, Skip.
Yep.
At the end of the day, these guys want to win, but if I can win and build my brand, why would you do that? Forget the bullet, Skip. I got no problem with talking because I'm going to talk regardless. Because guess what, Skip? If I don't talk, does that mean they're going to automatically give us the win? Or the Patriots are going to really play hard now because they hurt with Antonio Brown. I'm talking about the position he just put his head coach in.
I know. I agree.
That's the thing.
That's what it is.
You do know
Bad.
they go to the annual meetings. You do know when they play each other, they normally meet. So now it's frigid. He got a bad, I'm not saying that he had a great relationship to begin with, but normally coaches are cordial. Hey, how you doing? Hey, man, you got a good team. Congratulations. Stay healthy. You know, that's what you do. You don't, now, I remember Dan Reeves when I was with the Broncos, we played the Bears. Well, obviously, Mike Ditka was with the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. They were on the same team.
I was there.
They were on the same coaching staff. Mm-hmm. So, there's been a lot more time conversing. Obviously,
like on late Saturday nights, but go ahead.
Right.
Yes.
they spent a lot of times conversing. Mm-hmm. I don't know the type of relationship that Mike Tomlin has with a Coach Belichick, but it's a lot different it's going to be a lot different this Sunday than it was in the previous times they played.
So he pulled back the curtain and exposed the innermost thoughts of his head coach to the world. And I thought back, I was thinking of you when I heard this early this morning, because, again, this is only in America in 2017, millennial sort of behavior as you talk about. But can you imagine, what if who was your best receiver in 2000 Ravens? You didn't even really have one.
Well, we was in Denver, say Rod Smith or Terrell Davis. Okay. Let's just say for Terrell Davis.
But I was thinking of you and Ray in the locker room. What if somebody had been able to have this technology in his hand and had done this to your team before a big playoff game, an AFC championship game? What would you and Ray have done?
We couldn't have done anything, because you know who was doing that stuff? Brian Billick, and he was waiting for the cameras to come in there. That was him.
Wow.
See, Brian had a different philosophy.
A shot at Brian Billick?
No. He said, guys, I don't care what you say. He said, now, when you put it out there, you better show up and play on Sunday. He said, say whatever you want to say. He would wait till the cameras to get in there, and he would find
But he wouldn't take shots at Bill Belichick.
No. He was like, now, look, everybody knows there's no love lost between him and Jeff Fisher. And every chance he got,
okay, I got that.
He would make sure.
Fine.
But
you know what? When you got Ray Lewis and Shannon Sharpe on your side backing you up, you can probably talk pretty big and bad.
Exactly. But Skip, for me, and that's the only thing I'm saying. Like I said, I didn't really get into bulletin board talk because I remember we played the Steelers. They had beaten us the first time. In '97, they had beat us in that season. So we had to go back there for the championship. Mm-hmm. And they talking about, well, anything they say, because I was obviously, we're going to see what Shannon Sharpe has to. I said, I tell you what, I'm going to show up and I'm still going to talk because I don't know what might happen. So I'm going to show up and play, and we'll see what the outcome will look like this time around. See, what I have to say has nothing to do, but I never wanted to put Mike Shanahan, my head coach, in an uncomfortable situation with another head coach. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? At the coaches' meetings, at all these meetings that they go together, how is that relationship going to be moving forward? Because, Skip, if I know how you feel about me personally, because remember, Skip, you're at your 1,000% authentic self when you're in the confines of a place that you feel comfortable. Yeah. Mike Tomlin feels comfortable in the locker room. He feels he can say whatever he wants to his team, and it doesn't leave there.
And by the way, does any head coach have a deeper connection to his inner core of players than Mike Tomlin?
No.
That's why you're exposing something that is precious to me. It's a deep connection, a bond that team has, and you put it out on Front Street? Really? Wow.
I have not heard a player, and I know a lot of players, have ever said one bad thing about Mike Tomlin.
I've never heard a word.
Because they say he tells you how it is. You might not like it, but he's going to tell you the 100% truth, and then you deal for it right there. I remember he told the story about Willie Parker. Willie Parker came into his office and says, Coach, I need more carries. I need to get rushing titles. He said, when I look up there, I see five Lombardis. I don't see any Franco Harris rushing titles up there. That's what it's about. It's about team first. But I'm so disappointed, not because of the bulletin board. I'm disappointed in Antonio Brown because of the position he put his head coach in.
He did,
moving
and
forward.
I can't get over the fact he's not even participating in the post-game get-together. This intimate sort of thing is going on around the corner, and he's on Facebook Live, not even listening to his head coach.
If that's Dez Bryant or Odell Beckham doing the same thing, what would we say today, Skip?
Here they go again. That's what we'd say.
Exactly. You're
Yep.
exactly right.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Steelers handle it because they're
Wow.
not an organization that lets this stuff
They
go
don't.
on.
A steep penalty
Yeah.
fine coming.
No mercy. In Dak Prescott's first career playoff game, he threw 3 touchdowns and helped bring the Cowboys back from an 18-point deficit. Dak led a drive with under 2 minutes. That led to a game-tying field goal. And when the Cowboys were struggling early, a lot of people wondered on social media if they would make the switch to Tony Romo. Chris Carter's still with us, but Skip, let me start with you. What did Dak prove yesterday?
I'm not sure anybody can comprehend
Drum roll.
the pressure this kid has been under from game one this year, game after game after game. And
Not
he
by the
stood
Packers,
up
though.
to it. Not by the. I'm talking about the whole season.
By his owner.
By his owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. His owner fueled the fire
Yes.
week after week after week. And to Tony Romo's credit, he did come back, and once he witnessed the last 42 seconds at Pittsburgh, he said, I'm going to call my own press conference. My owner's not going to know about it, and I'm going to award the job to this kid, this 23-year-old fourth-round pick out of Mississippi State. And yesterday was a microcosm of the season because despite all the bad things that we just talked about, despite 21-3, despite me looking at Twitter at that point, I always look at what's trending, and the number one trend in the United States at that moment was Romo, because I'm just going to guess 2/3 of Cowboy Nation was either calling for Romo or hoping Jerry didn't call down to Jason Garrett to put Romo in the game, one way or the other, split. And what that young man did from 21-3 on showed me what he is made of. I thought he played great. I thought start to finish for the total game that he outplayed Aaron Rodgers. You disagreed with me early, but just again, QBR doesn't quite indicate it because he made the one mistake, although you say it might be Dez's mistake. But
most interceptions, wide receivers have something to do with it. This one, they can come out and dispute me on it,
okay,
but I believe he does,
whatever.
yes.
So that hurt him. So Aaron Rodgers winds up with an 84 QBR to 83 for Dak. So up at Lambeau, Dak had a 70 to Aaron's 35. That was the worst game Aaron played all year. Mm-hmm. And yet, with the money on the table and you're looking up the mountain at 21-3, you don't crumble, you don't fold, you just keep on keeping on. And that first drive for that first score at 21-3 in the pass to Dez, it was a thing of beauty now. I mean, that was some big-time quarterback.
Big-time throw,
and then he threw another one to Bryce Butler in the end zone. I'm done with Bryce Butler. I'm out.
I thought you liked him.
I used to, but I'm done. He's just not a money guy.
He runs away from the football.
He does run from the football.
He didn't have to be diving for that ball.
Come on. It's right there. But what a throw.
The same thing the Houston Texans tight end did. He dove for a ball. If he keeps running, he's going to drop it in the bread basket.
I agree. So overall, he completely won me over, and I hope he won over his owner and his fandom because I kept saying he's the present and he's the future. So now we're to the moment of truth. It is time to jettison Tony Romo via trade, or if you have to, you just cut bait with him because you need the money to shore up the defense you guys have been talking about now for the last couple of hours here. They're just not good enough on defense. They're not talented enough. They need an edge rusher. They need a corner, a real corner. Not somebody who's just going to kind of fight all the game like Used Car does.
Yeah.
I mean, he hangs in, he
hurt
fights.
all the time.
Yeah, or
Like
be hurt.
Claiborne is.
Like Claiborne's hurt all the time. And that kid, what was he, like a fourth rounder, Anthony Brown? He hung in the whole year. He did okay, but he's not that guy.
No.
So it's time to either trade. I've told you all year, I thought Tony belonged in Denver. And I don't know if the reports say Elway's not interested. He's going to go forward with one of his two, either Simeon or Paxton Lynch.
Elway does not want to spend the $24 million. That's a lot of money. But I think the thing is, he did show, because I think the greatest thing that an athlete can have is the belief in himself. And I think Dak, even though Jerry, the pressure wasn't imposed on him, a lot of pressure was because when you play in a game, obviously you're playing against the other team. But a lot of the pressure that Dak faced was internal, his organization, because they never backed him until the very end. But he had a belief in himself that I belong here. Look, I didn't initially win the job, but I played well enough to keep it. Now, you can take it from me, but he will not have earned it. What I saw yesterday moving forward, Dak is the real deal.
Yes.
You can say, you know what, rest assured. But I'm going to tell you what, Jerry Jones, now you can be stubborn and say you want to keep him because Tony Romo is box office and all that, and you can waste all these golden years because until you improve that defense, you're not winning. Because one mistake, and this is what happens. He made one mistake. Because I'm not so sure if he doesn't make that mistake, they're going down because once they got rolling, it's field goal, touchdown, touchdown.
Yeah.
But if you can't, because Aaron Rodgers is not going anywhere for another 3 or 4 years. Matt Ryan is not going anywhere. You're going to have to go through one of those quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, they're not going to, they got a down year.
Yep,
so
I agree.
You're not like in the AFC where basically all you got is Tom Brady, you got Ben Roethlisberger. That's all you got. But you got Aaron Rodgers for another 5, 6 years. You got Matt Ryan for another 5 to 6 years. You got Russell Wilson for another 7 years. So what you going to do, Jerry? Now, you can be stubborn if you want to and waste these kids' prime years. But if I was you, I'm trading Tony Romo even if I don't get but a 6th-round pick because I want somebody to get that salary off my books.
Yeah, and remember, he could renegotiate in Denver. He could take half of what the $24 million, play for incentives.
Well, it's obvious. I hope that Dallas takes a look at Seattle because when they drafted Russell Wilson, it was not that he was the quarterback of the future. It was a guy, John Snyder said, I like this guy. I like him. I believe he's a winner. I believe he's underrated, and I believe he should be a higher pick. If he was taller, he'd be a 1st-round pick.
Because they had signed Matt Flynn in the offseason.
And gave him a bunch of money. So you already have a certain amount of commitment to dollars. But we get Dak. Romo gets hurt. He answers every question you could possibly ask.
You got a pen, you got a box, check it.
I mean,
check it.
He did it. Leader.
Check.
Face of the franchise.
Check.
And even the legendary players, they like him. So being able to handle the media.
Troy, Michael.
Being able to handle that media in Dallas is a tremendous thing. He got Skip Bayless on his side. Check.
Thank you.
If you get,
that's a big one.
Check. And I'm going to tell you now, just because you play in the Cowboys.
The lights just flickered.
Absolutely.
Because God was shaking up there. Right?
No, they had to skip 3 minutes of bill paying you.
Maybe.
And what happens is, just because you're in Dallas, don't think that man across from me go be on your side automatically. But here's the thing. When they got Russell Wilson, you were able to build around him.
Yes.
Now, Dak Prescott's going to come due. He was a 4th-round pick. So you got him for 2 years.
You got to try to win that Super Bowl. You got him for 3 years. 3 more years without an extension. So you got to try to win.
I mean, unless you do the right thing and
extend him
and pay him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's the. But see, what does Seattle do? Seattle says, okay, we're going. Richard Sherman, we got you. Wagner, we got you.
Earl Thomas,
we got you. We're going to build around because they knew once Russell gets to that $19 million, now all of a sudden, offensive line, they went from having the priciest offensive line at about $21 million to the poorest at $8 million. So now, guess what suffered?
Look, hey, Tony Romo got to go. Okay, he got to go.
He don't got to leave Dallas now.
I'm gonna give you.
Got to get off the Cowboys.
I'm gonna give Jason Witten 1 more year. You got to get going too, because we ain't got no speed in vertically.
Nobody control the middle of the field
to go down the middle of the football field. So both of them.
Look at the teams. If you look at Travis Kelce, now he didn't have a good game, but he can get down the field in a hurry.
Look at Green Bay.
Jared Cook. They're different teams. Once he was hurt. But once he got healthy, look at when he got healthy and look at Aaron Rodgers' numbers once he got back on the
I'd like to get him a Super Bowl. He's a great guy, been a great locker room guy.
Yeah.
But next year, he should be more of a role player and start platooning with the younger.
Third downs and things like that.
I agree, but that offensive line is not going away for the next 5 or 6 years. So you can build the offense. It's going to be a factor.
And Dez has his money, so he's not going to be complaining.
You good with Dez?
Yes.
Yep.
Don't worry about the offense. The issue is if you get $24.7 million off your books, what can you do with the defense? You can go get you a bona fide pass rusher and a corner, and you can get your tight end in the draft. You get your tight end, hey, what about the kid from Alabama? What about the kid from Clemson or the kid from Mississippi State? There are a lot of good tight ends that you can get in probably the 3rd or 4th round. Listen, you don't wait till Jason Witten retire and then try to go get you go get a tight end a year earlier. Because what, you think he's going to play another 3 years?
No mercy. Aaron Rodgers threw 2 touchdown passes and made the key throw on 3rd and 20 that led to the game-winning field goal that ended the Cowboys' season. Jason Garrett praised the Packers quarterback after the game. Let's take a listen.
At the end of the day, they're going to talk about that guy as, one of the top 3 quarterbacks who ever laced him up. He's an outstanding football player. Someone said earlier this week, he's been hot for the last 7 or 8 weeks. He's been hot since 2008, and he's a great football player. And every time the ball is snapped, it's a challenge to contain him and the weapons that he has. And I thought our defense did a good job really just kind of bearing down and making some critical stops Unfortunately, in the end, it wasn't enough, but there's no question in my mind who we are was on display today. Everybody just kept fighting, kept battling, and unfortunately, it wasn't enough.
Rob, you're an Aaron Rodgers super fan.
I'm not a fan. I'm a reporter. Been for 30 years.
Reporter.
I'm not a fan.
Skip, that was your coach. That was your coach. that
Wait,
said
I'm going to
that.
explain why he said what he said. Go ahead.
Do you agree with Jason Garrett that Rodgers is top 3 all time?
You know what? Yes, I do agree, and I thought Jason was very gracious in losing and just paying homage to what he just witnessed out there. Excuse me, with what Aaron Rodgers did. But when you talk about the top 3, I'm going to go a step further. I think he is the best quarterback I've ever watched play football in the National Football League. And I'm talking about not the most accomplished. It's a big difference between accomplished and the best. Okay? But I'm sorry if I'm stealing it, but that's when you look at his skill set, Skip, he's got a strong arm. His accuracy is through the roof, Shannon. You know that. He has agility. He can make people miss. He can run for first downs. He can do everything that you would want your quarterback to do and more, and make the big throws that you need at the end of games, and set up the field goals, and score the touchdowns, whatever you need. Without a running game, without his best receiver, I just don't know what else the guy can do. To me, I don't know who Jason Garrett was talking about, the other 2 guys in the top 3.
Probably Brady Montana.
Probably those 2. But if I'm going to pick a guy, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers would be 1, Joe Montana 2, and Tom Brady 3. That would be my order.
God, that is so. I hope we don't get struck by lightning again.
For me, I've said this. I've been saying this for the longest time after I saw him play in the Super Bowl. He's the greatest thrower of the football that I've ever witnessed. And I alluded to a little bit earlier in the previous segment. He has Montana's touch. If you want to say as far as accuracy, I think Breeze is the most accurate quarterback. So he has Breeze accuracy. He has Marino's release. He has Elway's legs. Now, I took a segment of each quarterback, great quarterback, but this one man has it. I've never seen a guy that's able to throw the ball rolling left, rolling right, changing planes. He can throw the ball on his tippy toes, off the wrong foot. There's nothing he can't do. I said he was historically great. Transcendent. What's the word you use, Skip?
Transcendentally great.
Transcendentally. I didn't even know that was a word.
I got to look that up.
Yeah. It's transcendental meditation, but that's what I need after today's show.
He has no flaws. And I've talked and texted with a lot of former coaches, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of GMs. They have effusive praise. Some says, Brady, but for the most part, they said he's all-time great. And for me, and I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, he won't be he will not go down as the most accomplished because he's not catching Peyton Manning's 5 MVPs. Mm-hmm. He's probably not going to catch Tom Brady's 4 Super Bowls. Mm-mm. But Skip, he's the one quarterback that when you say he has no flaws. He has no flaws. He can throw it 60 in sub-zero temperature. Mm-hmm. He can drop it in from 36 yards away in a bucket on the sideline, rolling to his left.
Remember what happened when he lost to Atlanta this year, end of the game, last play, and he shows up his receivers saying to Cobb,
that's what he does.
What are you doing?
Skip, here's the thing. I'm all that.
It's not my fault. It's your fault.
He's still arrogant.
Yep.
He's still condescending. Mm-hmm. He's still dismissive.
Yep.
But that's a bad mamma jamma. And I take him all day, every day, and for one throw.
Mm-hmm. So, this is not a beauty contest, or maybe it is. Are we talking about a beauty contest?
No.
I'll give you the beauty contest. In a vacuum, just watching him throw the football, he's close to Marino. I'll give you that, but he ain't Dan Marino. That's just me.
Okay.
Marino, again, can't move. He couldn't move the way that Aaron can move.
Okay,
but just stand still throws. Hey, Dan Marino, you want to talk about a bad mamma jamma? This was wrong.
He was. I played there with Talk Danny, yes.
He got to a Super Bowl. He did not win a Super Bowl. But yesterday, Jason Garrett, clearly after the game, was simply trying to take a little heat off a fairly young Cowboy team that fought its guts out from 21-3 to 28-all, 31-all, and then lost to 2 weirdo, last-second, bizarro field goals that went all over the place. Yeah, they're like one hooked way right. I mean, just faded right, one hooks left. And in the end, you can't tell me he's better than Joe Montana. You can't tell me he's better than Tom Brady. And I'm hoping against hope. I'm going to start rooting for Aaron Rodgers from this moment forward.
No, stop.
I need him to win at at Matt Ryan next weekend, because then he would have to run headlong into the great Tom Brady. And would we not have some discussions on this show about that?
Are you sure
because
Tom Brady's
Aaron
gonna
Rodgers,
make it?
Yeah, the same Tom Brady who makes stars out of Julian Edelman and Danny Amendola, right?
But here's the thing, though, Skip. The guys that he gets, they work well with that system. If you're in the National Football League, you are a very good player. Now, you have levels to this. Yeah, they're good players, very good players, and then you have Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers that are all-time great players. But for that system, you make it seem like he just got some guys up off the street and say, hey, I need y'all Sunday. Come on, let's go collect some,
all I hear is
here.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a good enough system. And then he wins, it's like, oh, it's all Aaron Rodgers. Baloney. Can't wait.
What did we say, Skip?
Gotcha, Tom.
All we said is his receivers still don't get open, but he can put the ball in there now.
Jared Cook got wide open.
He wasn't wide open.
Yes, he was. He's uncontested.
No mercy. This is the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast, where we're delivering you an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the biggest topics of the day's show. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, like us on Facebook at Undisputed on FS1, follow on Twitter at Undisputed, and catch us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, Monday through Friday on FS1. You can find us on channel 219 on DirecTV, 150 on Dish. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's all for us today. From all of us at Undisputed, we wish you a great MLK Day. We come back tomorrow for a fun show. We'll be joined by Nelly, Chris Carter, and Eric Mangini. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.